We got two New York Giants players in the headlines for the wrong reason. I'm not going to jump to conclusions, but I will tell you this. If I run the Giants organization, whoever is found guilty between Quinton Dunbar and Deandre Baker, pack your shit, have a nice day. The Giants are trying to promote this idea of a positive locker room. They just brought in a new coach. They have a young quarterback who's going to be very talented. They have a running back who honestly I think is going to be a Hall of Famer one day. There's no time for this. WWE strips Sami Zayn of his Intercontinental Championship. Hey, you don't have to come to work during this pandemic. Doesn't come to work, but we're going to take the title away from you. We're going to talk about the news on that. Kobe Bryant's air pilot did not have any drugs or alcohol in his system, and I didn't think he did to begin with. I think, honestly, it was a very unfortunate circumstance. It was bad weather, and it had very, very grave consequences for a lot of individuals. All this and much more right here on Nick's World. Let's start off with the eye-catching one. Now, these are all important topics, but let's talk about the New York Giants. Now, the New York Giants are in the headlines for the wrong reasons. Not so much the New York Giants, but two players that play for the New York Giants. That is cornerback Deandre Baker and Quinton Dunbar, who were involved in an armed robbery altercation and potentially aggravated assault with a firearm. Now, it says right here, as the situation had happened, Deandre Baker and Quinton Dunbar, neither of them turned themselves in, but the situation was updated this morning as Deandre Baker had turned himself in to the Broward County Jail on Saturday for 4 counts of armed robbery with a firearm, 4 counts of aggravated assault with a firearm, according to his lawyer. Cohen confirmed that Baker turned himself in Saturday morning in an Instagram post, and his lawyer is stating that he's innocent. We believe our client is innocent of all charges. We urge people not to rush to judgment, and I'm not rushing to judgment. But again, this is not a good look for the Giants, and not so much the Giants, but it's not a good look for either of these players. If any of them are guilty and will have to serve time, I think the Giants are going to cut because DeAndre Baker's young. I believe this would only be his 2nd season in the NFL. And the last thing they need is a young player who is in trouble. Again, situations like these happen, but something like this is not acceptable, and it's definitely not someone that you want on your team. Again, the Giants have not, they've kind of been in a situation where they, the Odell Beckham thing got out of control towards the end there. He said he was a locker room disturbance. They don't need negative energy being clouded onto the organization right now. So this is not good. Now, witnesses say that Baker was of no wrongdoing in the alleged crime. He says he plans to present this along with video evidence to the judge at the appropriate time. He will appear in front of a judge Sunday among the items that will be addressed in his bond, according to Cohen. Now, as far as his friend that was with him, Seattle Seahawks cornerback Quinton Dunbar, who was wanted on 4 counts of armed robbery with a firearm, has not turned himself in, and there has been no decision on when and if he will do so. Nobody's running from this, his lawyer said. My client is innocent. I don't want him to do a minute in jail for this. If we decide that he will turn himself in, then he will do so. But Miramar Police Department is pot committed to this case because it has become public. So, for those of you that don't know, let's talk about here. Baker and Dunbar were wanted by police over an alleged incident that took place late Wednesday night at a party. According to the arrest warrant, Baker and Dunbar were accused of stealing money and watches with force while armed with semi-automatic firearms. It states that Baker intentionally threatened victims with a firearm. So a couple of problems there. One, you are in the NFL making money. Now again, maybe you're not making $20 million a year as a rookie, but you're making money and you're stealing money. Okay? That's not a good look. That's stupid. That's what it is. Because there's nobody in the NFL that needs to steal money. They're all doing very well for themselves. They should be. Okay? The second problem is a firearm. A firearm involved with anything means usually the intent to kill or severely injure. That's also bad. With force and threatened with a firearm. So he was allegedly threatening to inflict harm onto whoever these individuals were. Now, we don't know exactly how this situation transpired. If it was a self-defense thing, that's different. But from right now, it does not look very good for either of these men. Okay? You allegedly stole money, which you probably didn't need to steal, with force. So you committed assault with a firearm, and you threatened to use the firearm on them. Not very good. Not looking very good. Let's see what other details we have here. Multiple witnesses said at one point during the incident that Baker ordered another suspect wearing a red mask to shoot an individual. Now you are claiming supposedly for somebody to commit the act. He said he passed along 5 sworn affidavits from witnesses that exonerated Dunbar for the wrongdoing in the state's attorney office. He said that these were the same witnesses who gave the original statement. Despite both attorneys saying that their clients, they have both turned themselves in. Oh, wait a minute now here. The police department insists they both turn themselves in and welcome witnesses to add or change anything to their statement if they wish to do so. As of Saturday morning, police said none of the victims or witnesses have recalled their stories to them. That's another part of it. If no witnesses or nobody comes forward to the police, you don't have a case. You don't have a case. So, clearly I do believe there's some guilt in this because Baker had turned himself in. And I feel like you wouldn't turn yourself in if you didn't have anything to do. Again, but at the same time, sometimes turning yourself in, it gives you a better look. And police told them they would look into perjury charges for witnesses if they were found to be lying. And again, that's another thing. If the witnesses that were in this situation were lying, that's bad. That's bad. If that will be bad on them. The hammer will come down heavy because we've seen, I forgot his name. What was his name? I forgot the guy that lied. You guys probably know who it is. The guy that lied about being beaten and used anti-gay slurs against Justin something. He was an actor, and it was supposedly a setup to get his name out there more, and that was very grave consequences. But I think that there's some funny business here. We'll see what kind of news we have updated on here, but for right now, it does not look very good for both of those players. And we're going to get to our next backstage heat on Sami Zayn. Is Sami Zayn being frowned upon for the Intercontinental Championship and not coming back to work? So basically what happened was Sami Zayn's last match he wrestled was WrestleMania 36. They give Sami Zayn the championship, and we don't know where he is. Now, WWE supposedly has stated to all of their performers that they are not required to work in any way, shape, or form due to the pandemic. Some of the wrestlers we have not seen. Roman Reigns will be probably not on TV for quite a while still. And Sami Zayn, after WrestleMania 36, chose to go on this hiatus. The only problem with this to me would be that, well, they just gave you a title. But if they knew beforehand that you were one of the guys that were debating going on hiatus, they probably shouldn't have did that. So again, Sami Zayn exercised his opportunity to stay home. He's been off of TV for about a month and a half, and WWE has made an announcement. They are stripping Sami Zayn of his Intercontinental Championship, and they are holding a tournament which begun yesterday on SmackDown for a new Intercontinental Champion. One of my problems with this is you stripped him a little too soon, okay? I don't mean to compare Sami Zayn to Brock Lesnar, but you had Brock Lesnar on television for, I'm sorry, he was okay, let's draw this scenario out here, okay? Brock Lesnar is a different kind of animal. We get he's a draw. We get he's a legend, okay? You had Brock Lesnar hold supposedly a prestigious championship, not just a mid-card title. You had him hold it, not make mention of the title for months, and you had Brock Lesnar off of TV for probably 3 to 4 months straight, holding one of your prestigious titles, okay? But this guy, who's off of TV for a month and a half during a pandemic, is getting stripped. A guy that has been dealt a very wrong deck of cards, may I add you, to from WWE. Ever since he left NXT, he's been kind of a joke. And I hate that because Sami Zayn is a great performer, okay? Now, WWE reportedly had contacted Sami Zayn multiple times to see if he would back, and he said that he had not made a decision yet. And when Sami Zayn had found out this initial information, he was very disappointed. He took out to Twitter and he said that the Artist Collective revealed in a tweet that he disagreed with WWE's decision. Zayn claimed that he was undefeated and therefore still Intercontinental Champion. His tweet, this is a subtweet. WWE's tweet originally on Fox states, breaking news, Sami Zayn is unable to compete and defend the Intercontinental Championship. Therefore, WWE has declared a title vacant. A tournament to crown a new champion will begin this Friday night on SmackDown on Fox. Sami Zayn replies to the tweet, I disagree with your decision. No matter what anybody says, I am still undefeated and therefore the champion. Now, again, in his subtweet, he didn't go too crazy. He didn't say things that were well out of pocket. But, you know, I can't disagree with him. I can't. I really can't. The guy was off TV for a couple of weeks. Okay? You want to talk about somebody that's ruined your title picture that you dished out $3 million to? Let's talk about Goldberg. How about that? Goldberg comes back, beats Bray Wyatt's Fiend undefeated streak. Okay? He then is headed to Wrestlemania for an inevitable match with Roman Reigns as he holds the championship. Roman Reigns can't wrestle because he has a weakened immune system. So now that plan is ruined. Goldberg fights Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman shouldn't have been in that to begin with. Braun Strowman squashes Goldberg. Now Goldberg looks like crap. And now Braun Strowman has the WWE Universal Championship. And do you see just how I explained everything, how it all fell to crap? Yeah. See, they don't book long-term. They don't think. Everything WWE does is flying on the run. His disapproval may mean nothing to WWE as the show must go on, which brings us to the IC title tournament that will kick off this week on SmackDown. Who do you think will capture the vacant championship? Before I get to my final topic, I'm going to state this, and I'm going to state it very, very evidently. I looked at the tournament. I looked at the bracket. Jeff Hardy is the name that needs to win this tournament. Jeff Hardy needs to win this tournament. A lot of people are saying AJ Styles because he hasn't won the Intercontinental title yet. AJ Styles doesn't need a championship. Okay? You have Jeff Hardy come back on this final run. You give him all these vignettes, all these packages. If you're going to have him do that and then not win, it would be very foolish. And again, he doesn't have to be Universal Champion. I think Jeff Hardy needs to win this tournament. Sheamus is another one. Sheamus has been built kind of decent, but the problem is that Jeff Hardy and Sheamus are fighting in the first round. And I actually, as of recording this, I don't know the exact result of the first round of some of the matches. But again, you know, Jeff Hardy needs to win this. And I think that that's the guy they need to go with. But I think it's very wrong of WWE to strip Sami Zayn of his title, especially now. Final topic I got for you guys to go over here. Kobe Bryant. As we all know, Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and multiple others were tragically killed in a helicopter accident in February, killing the pilot and everyone on board. There were no survivors. The pilot's name was, I forgot his name for a minute. Excuse me 1 second. Should be listed here. I know it's ARYA something. I gotta look here. ARYA Zoba was the pilot. Now, before I say anything, I want to make note that multiple NBA players have stated that they've taken that pilot before, and he was a very good flyer. It states here that the autopsy had come back negative. The pilot had no trace of drugs or alcohol in his system, and I am not surprised whatsoever. I'm sorry, this was actually in January, this helicopter accident. It's crazy. It's been so many months. It's just, I remember, we all remember it so soon. Basically what happened was they were flying to, and we all know, they were flying to his daughter's practice facility for a game. The pilot, ARYA ZOYABAN, and the others was considered accidental. It was considered accidental. The group, including him, his daughter's coaches, encountered thick fog. Now, it was a very, very foggy and difficult visibility day. I don't really know if that's a correct sentence. A difficult day to fly a helicopter. Now, I don't know he gotten permission beforehand to fly this helicopter, but it was a very difficult day. The winds were strong from what we're told. When it struck the ground, it was flying at 184 miles an hour and descending at a rate of more than 4,000 feet per minute. That is a very fast descent, and that is a very fast speed. Bryant's body was found on the other side of the wreckage, and his daughter was found in a ravine on the opposite side. Flames engulfed the wreckage, but burns on the bodies were determined to have occurred after death. So from what we're told, again, it gives me like goosebumps in all the wrong ways to talk about this topic. From what we're told, it was an accident. I 100% with every fiber of my being believe that this was an accident. I do not believe that there was anybody intoxicated. I do not believe that there was anybody that was under the influence. I honestly believe that this was a tragic, tragic accident. And it's, wow. It's just, even now, just to think about it, it's just ridiculous. It was very foggy, it was hard to fly, and they crashed, and they were dead on impact. So it's an awful situation. The autopsy noted that, that he wasn't drunk. And I think, again, there's not too much to dive into on this topic. I think it was just a very unfortunate circumstance, and it cost a lot of great people on that helicopter. And it's important, too, to also name out the people that died on that helicopter that were not famous. his friends, or not Kobe's friends, but Gianna's teammates, and everybody else that was involved in this accident. It was really just an awful, awful day for fans and for everybody. I don't really, I don't like talking about it too much, but I figured I'd throw this out there. It was an accident. That's what I believe it was. Again, they're going to keep, probably doing research and study on it, but it was just an awful situation. But like I said today, guys, that's what I got for the news. Some wrestling, some basketball, and some football as well. I encourage everybody to like, subscribe, and push the channel out there. Thank you so much for watching.